Hey everyone, and welcome to day 21, our final day of this incredible 21-day journey of building a small language model from scratch. I can't believe we've made it to the end together. First, I want to say a massive thank you to everyone who has been following along, reading the blogs, engaging with the content, asking questions, and sharing your own learnings. This journey has been absolutely incredible, and it wouldn't have been the same without your support and engagement. When I started this 21-day series, I had no idea it would resonate with so many people. The comments, the shares, the discussions, all of it has been amazing. I truly hope that through these 21 days, you've learned something new, gained deeper insights into how language models work, and feel more confident about building your own models. Whether you're a complete beginner who's just starting your journey into generative AI or an experienced practitioner looking to understand the fundamentals better, I hope this series has provided value. The goal was always to make these complex concepts accessible, to break down the intimidating world of large language models into digestible, understandable pieces. This entire journey started because of my book, Building a Small Language Model from Scratch, a Practical Guide. When I was writing that book, I realized something important. While the book covers everything in depth, there was a need for a more accessible day-by-day format that people could follow along with. The book is comprehensive. It dives deep into every component, includes full implementations, and provides the complete picture. But I wanted to create something that was more digestible, something people could consume one concept at a time. So I decided to create this 21-day series. Each day would focus on one fundamental concept, breaking it down in a way that's easy to understand with practical examples and real-world context. The idea was to take the journey from the book and make it even more accessible, to create a learning path that anyone could follow, regardless of their background. The book remains the comprehensive resource. It's where you'll find the complete implementations, the detailed mathematical explanations, and the full context. But this 21-day series serves as a companion, a way to explore these concepts one at a time, to really understand each building block before moving to the next. To celebrate this incredible 21-day journey, and as a special thank you to our sponsor, I'm excited to announce that I'm giving away 5 free copies of my book, Building a Small Language Model from Scratch, a Practical Guide. The giveaway is my way of saying thank you for being part of this journey. Whether you've been here from day one or just joined us recently, your engagement and support have made this series special. To enter, just leave a comment below telling me what you've learned from this series or what you're planning to build next. I'll randomly select 5 winners and announce them. Now, let's take a walk through everything we've learned together over these 21 days. I want to give you a comprehensive overview of our journey because when you look at it all together, it's pretty remarkable how much ground we've covered. On day 1, we started with the absolute fundamentals, 10 essential neural network concepts that form the foundation of everything else. We learned about neurons, weights, biases, activation functions, layers, forward propagation, loss functions, back propagation, optimization algorithms, and the training pipeline. This was crucial because you can't understand transformers or language models without understanding neural networks first. We explored how neural networks can learn almost anything, how they're built from simple building blocks, and how the training process works. This foundation set us up for everything that followed. On day 2, we built our first machine learning model, linear regression. This might seem simple, but it's where we learned the fundamental concepts that apply to all machine learning, how models learn from data, how we measure performance, how optimization works. We saw how linear regression is just a simple neural network, and how the concepts we learned here, gradient descent, loss functions, training loops, apply to language models too. This was our first taste of actually building something that learns. Day 3 was all about PyTorch, the framework that powers most modern language models. We learned 10 critical PyTorch operations that you'll use constantly when building language models. Tensors, automatic differentiation, neural network modules, loss functions, optimizers, and more. Understanding PyTorch is essential because it's the tool we use to actually build and train models. These operations are the building blocks of every implementation we'd see later. On day 4, we explored why GPUs are critical for language models. We learned about parallel processing, why GPUs are so much faster than CPUs for neural network operations, memory bandwidth, and how modern GPUs are specifically designed for deep learning. This was important because understanding your hardware helps you make better decisions about model size, batch sizes, and training strategies. You can't effectively build and train language models without understanding the hardware they run on. Day 5 was all about data, and this is where we learned one of the most important lessons. Data quality matters more than data quantity. We explored how data shapes language models, what makes good training data, data preprocessing, and the critical role data plays in model performance. We learned that a language model is fundamentally a compression of its training data, so the quality, diversity, and quantity of that data directly determines what the model can learn. This understanding is crucial for anyone building language models. On day 6, we look into tokenization, the process that converts text into numbers that neural networks can process. We learned about different tokenization methods, vocabulary sizes, how tokenizers handle unknown words, and why tokenization choices matter so much. This was a critical day because tokenization is the bridge between human language and machine learning. Understanding how text becomes numbers is essential for understanding everything that follows in language models. Day 7 was a big one. We learned about self-attention, the mechanism that makes transformers so powerful. We explored how attention allows models to focus on different parts of the input, how queries, keys, and values work, and how attention scores are computed. This was foundational because attention is what makes transformers different from previous architectures. Understanding self-attention is understanding the core innovation that enabled modern language models. On day 8, we learned about causal attention and why causal masking matters in language models. We explored how language models generate text one token at a time, why they can only look at previous tokens, and how causal masking enforces this constraint. This was crucial for understanding how language models actually work during generation. They're not just processing text, they're generating it sequentially, and causal attention is what makes that possible. On day 9, we discovered how multiple attention heads learn different patterns. We learned why having multiple heads is better than one, how different heads specialize in different types of relationships, and how multi-head attention provides richer representations. This showed us how transformers can simultaneously learn many different types of relationships, syntactic, semantic, positional, all at once through parallel attention heads. Day 10 was all about the KV cache, the optimization that makes LLM actually usable. We learned why generating text would be impossibly slow without caching, how the KV cache works, the memory trade-offs, and why this optimization is essential for real-world deployment. This was a practical day that showed us how theoretical models become practical systems. Understanding KV cache is understanding how language models are actually deployed and used. On day 11, we explored multi-query attention, which reduces memory by sharing keys and values across heads. We learned how MQA trades some flexibility for massive memory savings, making it possible to run larger models with longer contexts. This showed us how researchers optimize attention mechanisms for practical constraints, not just making models better, but making them more efficient and deployable. Day 12 continued the optimization theme with grouped query attention, the middle ground between standard multi-head attention and multi-query attention. We learned how GQA balances memory efficiency with model performance and why it's become the standard in many modern models. This day showed us how engineering decisions are made, finding the right balance between different trade-offs to create practical solutions. On day 13, we learned about positional encodings, how transformers understand word order. We explored sinusoidal positional encodings from the original transformer paper, how they work, and why position information is essential for language understanding. This was important because transformers process all tokens in parallel, so they need explicit positional information to understand sequence order, a fundamental aspect of language. Day 14 built on day 13 with rotary positional encodings, or ROPE, the modern standard used in models like Llama and GPT. We learned how ROPE applies positional information where it's actually used in attention rather than where it's convenient in embeddings, and why this approach is better. This showed us how the field has evolved, from adding positional information to embeddings to applying it directly in attention computations where it's needed. On day 15, we explored RMS norm, root mean square normalization. We learned how it differs from layer norm, no mean subtraction, why it's faster, and why it's become the normalization technique of choice in modern models like Llama and Qwen. This day showed us how even small optimizations matter. Removing one operation from normalization might seem minor, but it adds up across millions of operations in large models. Day 16 was about optimizers, specifically Adam W versus Muon. We learned how optimizers update model parameters, why Adam W became the default, what Muon brings to the table, and how the optimizer choice affects training speed, stability, and final performance. This was crucial because the optimizer is what actually makes learning happen. Understanding optimizers is understanding how models improve during training. On day 17, we explored mixture of experts, the architecture that enables trillion parameter models. We learned how MoE routes tokens to specialized experts, the benefits of sparse activation and the hidden costs, training complexity, variable inference latency, and memory overhead. This day showed us a fundamentally different approach to scaling, not just making models bigger, but making them smarter about which parameters to use. Day 18 was all about quantization, reducing precision from 32-bit to 8-bit or 4-bit integers. We learned how quantization achieves 4x to 8x memory savings, why neural networks are robust to precision reduction, and how modern techniques preserve most model quality. This was a practical day about deployment, how theoretical models become practical systems that can run on consumer hardware. On day 19th, we learned about residual connections, the innovation that made deep networks possible. We explored how they solved the vanishing gradient problem, enabled training of very deep networks, and why they're essential for modern transformers. This showed us how a simple idea, adding input to output, solved one of the most fundamental problems in deep learning. Finally, on day 20, we explored activation functions. From ReLU to JeLU to SwigLU, we learned how activation functions introduce nonlinearity, why smooth functions provide better training stability, and how SwigLU's gating mechanism has become the standard. This completed our understanding of the fundamental building blocks. Activation functions are what give neural networks their power to learn complex patterns. When you look at all 21 days together, it's remarkable what we've covered. We started with the absolute basics. What is a neuron? What is a weight? And we ended with understanding complete transformer architectures, optimization techniques, and deployment strategies. More importantly, we've learned how all these pieces fit together. We understand not just what each component does, but why it exists, how it solves specific problems, and how it interacts with other components. This is the complete picture of how modern language models work, from the mathematical foundations to the practical deployment considerations. As I mentioned at the beginning, this 21-day journey was inspired by my book, Building a Small Language Model from Scratch, a Practical Guide. The book takes everything we've covered in these 21 days and goes even deeper. If you've enjoyed this 21-day series and want to go deeper, the book is your next step. It's designed to be the comprehensive resource that takes you from understanding these concepts to actually building and training your own language models. The book and this series complement each other perfectly. The series gives you the accessible overview, the book gives you the deep dive and the practical implementation details. As we wrap up this incredible 21-day journey, I want to leave you with a few thoughts. First, building language models is a journey, not a destination. What we've covered in these 21 days is the foundation, but the field is constantly evolving. New architectures, new optimization techniques, new training methods are being developed all the time. The key is to have a solid foundation, which I hope we've built together. Second, understanding the fundamentals matters. It's easy to get caught up in the latest models, the newest techniques, the biggest numbers. But understanding the fundamentals, how attention works, why normalization matters, how residual connections enable deep networks, that understanding is what allows you to adapt as the field evolves. Third, building from scratch teaches you things that using pre-trained models never will. When you understand how every component works, when you've implemented them yourself, you develop an intuition that's invaluable. You can debug issues, optimize performance, and make informed architectural decisions. Finally, this journey doesn't end here. What you've learned in these 21 days is just the beginning. The next step is to take this knowledge and apply it. Build your own models, experiment with different architectures, train on your own data, deploy your models, and continue learning. I want to end by saying thank you again. Thank you for following along, for engaging with the content, for asking questions, for sharing your learnings. This journey has been incredible, and it's been made so much better by having you along for the ride. I truly hope you've learned something new, gained deeper insights, and feel more confident about building language models. Whether you're just starting out or you're an experienced practitioner, I hope this series has provided value. If you found this series helpful, I'd love it if you could. Share it with others who might benefit. Leave a comment about what you learned or what you're planning to build. So check out the book if you want to go deeper. So continue the conversation in the comments. The field of language models is exciting and it's only getting more interesting. I'm excited to see what you build with the knowledge you've gained. Thank you for being part of this journey. Keep learning, keep building, and I'll see you in the next video. Before we wrap up, I want to wish everyone a very happy new year. As we close out this year and begin a new one, I'm excited about what's ahead in the world of language models and AI. Until then, happy building.